What's up, everybody? Welcome in. It is another edition of the Oddsmakers podcast presented by SuperBook Sports. I'm Jonathan Von Tobel, along with the Oddsmakers themselves, Jay Kornegay and John Murray. I almost went opposite. I almost went Jay Murray and John Kornegay, but that is not the way it goes. What's up, boys? How's it going?
Week 7. Here we are.
Yeah. Sorry, it's moving along pretty quickly, huh? In terms of the National Football League. College, I think we're at like week 12 already because that's the way it works. It always throws me off. How was the weekend in the NFL? Everybody wants to know. So what is it? 6 underdogs win outright. Bills win and cover. Positive, negative?
Positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, around here it was back east, not so much as, you know, we operate in a number of jurisdictions. New Jersey keeps beating us a little bit, but you start thinking about it. You got
Sharp market, huh?
Eagles, Phillies, Giants, Jets, Syracuse,
Yankees.
Yep.
Yankees.
A lot of the teams that are popular in that area are doing very well, having a great month. I mean, Philadelphia sports are riding like an all-time high right now.
Yeah, but Nevada was good, so we'll take it. I mean, Saturday wasn't that great. Saturday was a great start. We had a great morning, great afternoon, and then we lost every game at night, including that Tennessee game, which was a great game, by the way. But we were on the short end of that. So rough Saturday, pretty solid Sunday, then lost a Monday night game. That great.
It was a great, thrilling contest.
Game, yeah. I was really hoping, because I predicted it would be 15-12. I was close.
You were close, yeah. You were right on there.
I wanted the tie. I think we would have got the tie if Denver hadn't fumbled that punt.
Oh, we all deserved a tie.
And the tie would have knocked all those people out of Survivor.
Yep.
We started saying
I really wanted that tie.
That second quarter, we were like, it's going to be a tie.
That would have been great.
Awful.
Ties are funny.
Well, the best part would have been is that all those people would have been knocked out of Survivor, John, but they all would have called anyway and been like, hey, it's a tie. I'm still alive, right? Like, this is the way this works.
Yeah. People don't seem to grasp that concept too well, John.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are some Survivor contests where you move on with a tie, which makes no sense.
You don't survive.
No.
But
Very few, actually.
I played in one this year, and I had the Colts week 1. And then I lost a couple weeks later.
So you're a fan of ties.
Oh, I love ties. Ties are great.
Speaking of Survivor, it reminds me of one of the best jokes that I've ever made where it was pointed out that for some Survivor members, they actually died and did not get their entries in. So literally failed to survive.
There are people that died before they could submit their picks?
Yeah.
And you consider that a joke?
That's dark.
No, the joke was that they didn't literally survive to get their picks in. Yeah, you know what I mean?
But you said you introduced it as it was one of the best jokes you ever made.
Yeah. I'm a dark humor kind of guy.
Right.
You know what is dark humor?
There's no room for that on this show.
Watching a full Indianapolis Colts game, which is where we're going to begin because it's not the best slate of games, but these are two teams with winning records technically. So it's a game that matters. Indianapolis and Tennessee, from a SuperBook perspective, you guys look ahead here with Tennessee minus 1.5. You reopened it on Sunday at 1.5. Total at 42 and then 42.5. Right now, though, 2.5 in favor of the Tennessee Titans with that total still hanging around. So, John, we'll go to you here. Mm-hmm. What are we looking at between these two AFC South rivals?
Well, hold on a second. It's not the best slate of games, the worst slate of NFL games I've ever seen. And look, we don't work for the TV networks. We can say it. These are lousy games. It gives people a reason to bet. You've got to bet on these games if you're going to sit through them. So download the SuperBook app. It's the only way you're going to be able to sit through this Sunday's games. Did see a sharp player laid 2. With the Titans, we're at 2.5. I get it. I mean, Matt Ryan, he's struggling out there, John. I don't know how the Colts are 3-2-1.
I think the Sharps laid 1.5 too, didn't they? They laid 1.5 and 2, now up to 2.5. So.
I saw the bet -2. You're probably right, though. I'm sure you're right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much else to say about this game.
I would say that Matt Ryan is coming off of his best game as quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Yardage-wise, didn't commit a turnover-worthy play, highest graded game by PFF standards. Maybe starting to get comfortable, John.
Tough scene if you had Jacksonville +3 on Sunday.
Yes, the Colts totally.
I mean, that's brutal because they were going to kick a field goal to win by 2, and then they scored the long touchdown. Brutal if you bet Jacksonville. We did. That was one of the few games we lost on Sunday morning. You know, Sunday we really did very well. We did lose on that. A lot of emotion in the back room after that touchdown.
I was here.
Yeah, there were some very upset people. I'm not going to name anyone by name, but some of our one of our VPs of trading, he was very upset.
Is that the one Pierce caught that? Is that the game winner? Was it the receiver Pierce?
Alec Pierce for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah. He's like the hot pickup, I guess, in fantasy.
Well,
football.
yeah, because they don't really have much else going on, and they drafted him to be as their number 2 guy. So
he did sling it around 58 times. As you said, Matt Ryan, his best game. Well, he did throw it 58 times. I hope he had a season high in completions and yardage.
Let me ask you guys this before we move on from this game. Obviously, Naheem Hines, Jonathan Taylor, Shaquille Leonard, Kwity Paye, all guys who did not play for Indianapolis in that game against Jacksonville. If all four of those guys get a clean bill of health this coming weekend, how much does this line move, if anything? Because like 2.5, it's kind of like dead, right? There's not really going anywhere.
Yeah, I think it's kind of already priced for some of those guys to be back.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not going to go all the way to a pick 'em. It's going to go probably through some pretty dead numbers.
1.5 maybe, if that. All right, we'll move on from there. Let's go to Kansas City. No, excuse me. I don't want to skip the best one. Sorry, Jay. New York Jets on the road against the Denver Broncos. Bronco country. Let's ride. Although he didn't say it after the game. I think he was pretty depressed after that Monday night contest. Opened, look ahead was Denver minus 3.5. Reopened to Denver minus 3 here at SuperBook. Total's pretty low, 42.5. And right now, up on the board, you guys have Denver minus 1. What's behind the move?
It's tough to explain as a Broncos fan. I'm hearing that all the time. Let's ride. Let's slide.
It's actually
let's cook. And I'm getting all these memes.
Let Russ cook.
And he's got a fire behind him, and he's got a chef hat on. It's pretty accurate, actually. We opened 3. It came right down as soon as they disclosed that, he had that hamstring issue. Came all the way down, and it hasn't stopped, really. It's gone down all the way to 1. As you mentioned, Pick and some others. Jeremiah and I are looking at each other right now. Easy. Yeah. Nope. No, I'm not sold on the Jets. I mean, I think the Jets have a great defense. Mm-hmm. I really do. I think this is another 15-12 game. I know the total's at 40, but I think I would probably go under that. I can't explain what I'm seeing in Denver. I just don't even recognize that team. The defense is awesome. They're playing their butts off, and the offense just continues to make no sense to me. The play calling, the lack of recognition by Russell, drop passes, missed assignments. They're killing him back there. I mean, a couple of times you guys watched the game, I'm sure, if you weren't sleeping. That blitzes came through untouched. And just
it was that late third down, right?
Or a couple of times,
right up the middle. Yeah,
it was a couple of times. So I just don't understand what's going on with the offense. But
it's a very poorly coached team.
But I'll give Jeremiah 1.
That's a very poorly coached football team. You know what's going on. The Hackett's in over his head.
Yeah,
he shouldn't be an NFL head coach.
He definitely shouldn't be. And I don't think he will be much longer. He might make it through the season, but remember, the current ownership, the new ownership of the Broncos did not hire this guy.
Yeah.
So there are no strings attached here.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they pull the trigger pretty early on that, because there are overreactions, right? You want to give guys time to grow. I think we have a large enough sample size to show that Hackett's not going to hack it, if you will.
Correct.
Well done, John.
There you go. A little too on the nose, but I liked it. All right, we move on. Kansas City on the road against San Francisco. Jay, we'll stay with you here. So you guys look at here at SuperBook, Kansas City minus 1.5, total of 47. Reopened KC minus 2.5 with a total of 47.5. So no real adjustments there. And they're sitting at 2.5 right now at the SuperBook with a total of 48.5. And this is the thing. The San Francisco 49ers defense really beat up going into that game against Atlanta. Very much showed against a quality Atlanta offense. And now you get Patrick Mahomes coming into town.
Yeah, there's certainly no sharp money on this yet. The market just kind of moved up, and I was looking at it right before we came on the air. It's like 85% of the tickets are all on the Chiefs, as expected, and I think it's going to get worse. I think those will probably drive it up on the high side of 3. I think it just really depends if the sharps are going to bite on that, or maybe wait till it goes further. So we'll see what happens. I still believe the 49ers are a pretty quality club. I still like what they do there. I don't understand why they got away from Jeff Wilson. I think he can really run the ball, but they kind of panicked there. And I don't understand where Debo is.
Debo Samuel?
Yeah, Debo is just missing, in action. I don't know why they're not utilizing him, but I still believe that the offensive line and the defensive line, I know that they have some injuries, but I still think that 49ers are going to be there at the end. And I'm not sure what Kansas City is going to do after a couple of very tough games. This is not a very easy spot for Kansas City.
Got to get more to your quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't really great against Atlanta. 2 interceptions, part of his 2 turnover-worthy plays. It's kind of been his thing, too. So I want to ask you, because you mentioned something. You mentioned the market kind of moved the number on you here. So when you guys have your look ahead, and then when you open back up on those Sundays, the next Sundays, how much of your opening number on Sundays is looking around at where the market's going and opening up and adjusting to what you're seeing market-wide?
I think what we do on Sundays is look at that performance that day and what they did, and we take on those injuries and we put that in a bowl and spit out that line. But that's what we look at. We look at the performance that we just saw and injuries that took place during the course of the game and adjusted accordingly. The market has a small place in there, but we have a lot of confidence in our lines, and normally they're pretty close to one another, so we're not stepping out of bounds here.
All right, John, we'll go to you on this. Pittsburgh Steelers against the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins are playing host here. Sunday, you guys opened Miami -6.5 with a total of 44. No real adjustment from your guys' look ahead. It was Miami 6 with a total of 42.5. And the Steelers making Tom Brady question leaving his family behind for football after looking pretty good, I guess, against them.
Is it too early to flex games out of Sunday night? We don't do that until later in the season.
I was shocked that the 2 primetime games, Sunday and Monday, and maybe the Thursday in there too, but the primetime slate is disgusting this weekend.
Well, Miami's getting Tua back, right? That's why this line is as high as it is. They've really struggled offensively without Tua. So I know Tua got criticized a lot coming into the season. They said all this pressure was on him. Well, they were playing pretty well until he got knocked out of that game a few weeks ago, and they looked awful without him. They need him back. Could be a get-right spot for Miami. The Steelers are off of a really good win against the Bucs, but they can't really seem to do anything offensively. As long as Miami can avoid turning the ball over, they should be able to win this game. I guess we'll have a lot of moneyline parlays going to the Dolphins because it is on Sunday Night Football, but not the most appealing Sunday night game.
Teasers too? Teasing that 7 down?
Sure, yeah. Teasers as well.
What game would you rather watch, Steelers and Dolphins or Syracuse and Clemson?
I don't know. Probably Syracuse and Clemson.
College football has,
close.
I know John likes these qualities. College football has the potential to be funny, right? Like broken plays and ridiculous stuff and, just nonsense.
So do Broncos games with Nathaniel Hackett coaching. He's
aren't working.
Really quickly, a note about the Dolphins, because I think this speaks to Mike McDaniel and the credit that he does deserve. I thought they should have won that game against Minnesota over the weekend. 458 total yards to 234 for Minnesota, 6.3 yards per play to 4.7 for the Vikings. But when you're talking about 3 turnovers, as you mentioned, John, like McDaniel schemed them up. They just couldn't take advantage of it.
Did you use Dolphins in the contest? Is that why you're saying I thought that they should have won?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
I also watched the game with my eyeballs.
Because I used Dolphins as well.
And did you share those same thoughts?
Of course.
Okay.
I was super upset about it.
Super upset.
And I thought that they
Feel
should.
the rage.
They definitely they deserved a better. They deserved a better outcome, I think, than that. Minnesota keeps winning games. I don't know how. But I think Minnesota's 5-1 now.
They are.
They're taking care of the ball. I mean, that's what they're doing. We haven't heard too much about Cook, but he has been producing at not like posting huge numbers. That's the problem with the Dolphins. Dolphins can't run the ball. They're one-dimensional. They really are. Yep. They're putting too much pressure on their quarterback. They can't run the ball consistently anyway, and that's creating some problems. But Tua, maybe bring some life back. Who knows?
Now I'll ask you, Jay. Would you rather watch Steelers-Dolphins or Bears-Patriots, which is the Monday night game? New England -6, 38.5. This is great too, right? These totals, so you get an idea of how good these games are going to be. 42.5 for Sunday night in the open, 38.5 for this one here. I got moved up though, 39. Patriots, I think -7, and then now sitting at 8.
Yep.
A little bit of support for the Patriots, huh?
No, the market's moving up that way. I think the bookmakers are really understanding that. Guess what side we're going to need as it's going to move up and creep up because we're not going to get any Bears money at all. I don't think we're going to see anything. And if this thing creeps up to 10, of course we're going to see it. But as a bookmaker, you look at a game like that and you're like, oh my gosh, all right. Hopefully we knock out some money line parlays, a lot of teasers before we get to Monday night because it's going to be very lopsided action on this game. And I'm not looking forward to watching it. I'd rather watch the baseball playoffs, but that's me.
There's a Golden Knights game that night.
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Maple Leafs team.
Oh, that's a good game.
I'll be at that game.
NBA season's underway, right? There's a lot going on that you'd rather watch on Monday. Difference between Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, negligible at this point? Nothing, right?
Nothing. I would say nothing right now. I mean, maybe a half point before last week. Now, nothing.
Like Bailey Zappi's a half point better?
No, I was saying, no, for real. Like, Zappi's playing well. I mean, this is kind of a Bill Belichick team. They bring in the backup quarterback. He doesn't make any mistakes. Their defense has all these players that you don't realize how good they are because they're not necessarily big names yet. New England, it looks very dangerous right now. And I think, Chicago, Fields he doesn't look like he should be starting at quarterback in the NFL. And then on top of that, he gets no help at all. He has nobody helping him at receiver, no one blocking for him. It's tough. He's in a really bad spot.
I think the last 2 weeks we have seen Bill Belichick kind of flex his muscles a little bit more, right? Shutting out the Lions, who at one point statistically were one of the best offenses in the NFL, doing it to Cleveland too. I mean, I don't know how much of a hand he has in that offense, but Bailey Zappi, I don't know how good he is. He was throwing to wide open dudes though in that game against Cleveland.
I know.
It was pretty
But
impressive.
he was doing what he was supposed to be doing, right? I mean, if you would have asked us at the beginning of the year, the difference between Zappi and
Mac Jones?
Mac Jones, it would have been probably like 3 or 4, maybe more at that time. But now, after he performs a couple of, had a couple of great Sundays, now it's 0. Yeah. So I don't know where they get these guys, and the coaching is just fantastic.
Well, Bailey Zappi is from Western Kentucky.
It is amazing. Yeah.
They're schemed up, man. The Belichick and his staff are doing an incredible job.
On both sides of the ball.
I think Zappi's got some FBS record for like most yards or touchdowns in something like that right in the season. Looks pretty good. By the way, also, there's drama in New England. I don't know if you guys know this, but reports leaking out, Mac Jones has an attitude problem.
Really?
Yeah. Getting pretty bad.
Who leaked that report?
I think it was Ben Volin who first approached the topic when it came to Boston Sports Radio. So they love those topics. All right, we move on. John, we go to you. Big ticket bets, anything that we've seen, any sport, anything happening? It's actually a busy time of year now. The basketball's underway.
Do you want to talk about UFC 280?
Go ahead.
There has been some big money came in on Makhachev. There's guys laying to win $10,000 on the favorite in that fight. A couple really big bets on the favorite. We actually had the price higher than this. It's come down a little bit because so much public support on Charles Oliveira. So a great fight. I know the UFC is hoping the dog wins. They don't really want Makhachev to be their lightweight champion.
Why not?
He's just not as marketable.
Oh, he's boring. Like he's fights a boring style.
Fighter. He grabs you. He wrestles you to the ground.
I actually kind of think it's a really fun style because the way he completely just mans dudes and puts them down on the ground and puts them wherever he wants, and I'm really impressed with Makhachev. So,
I hope so. I mean, he's incredibly good. I mean, both these guys are great. I mean, this is probably the best fight the UFC can make right now at any weight class.
So, what would be your, I guess we'll call true price on Makhachev here, since you're saying you're getting some
we had it
support.
higher. I mean, I think it should be higher, but some of the money that I've seen come in on him is not money that I particularly respect, and it's kind of made me rethink the whole thing. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on Saturday, but I originally thought the price on the favorite should have been higher than this.
Let me ask, since we're on this topic, how popular will that card be, especially with the weird start time? Doesn't it start at 11 a.m.?
Very popular.
Yeah. Okay.
UFC is our fastest growing sport, and it shows up in our handle every Saturday if there's not a UFC event, if there's a bad UFC event, or if there's a big UFC event. But even the one we had this past Saturday, which is one of the worst UFC cards I've ever seen, we were writing money on it all over the country. So I think this one, this Saturday, should be awesome for us, even though, of course, it's not an ideal start time.
Where are these taking place?
Abu Dhabi.
Mm-hmm. Abu Dhabs.
7 a.m. start time. So it's not good. It's not,
main card starts 11. Main card starts 11 a.m. Okay. So,
but consider,
Jay was coming after me on that one.
I was like,
main card, man.
Jesus.
We've got a SuperBook in New Jersey. We've got presence on the East Coast. So that main card starting at 2:00 in the afternoon. We should be fine.
All right, I like it. I'm excited. I am a friend. I like it, mixed martial arts, as they call it. The sport is not called UFC. That's promotion. Just throwing that out there. All right, Super Contest standings. We don't need to talk about my entry, which is currently sitting at 500.
Why do they keep putting that in the rundown? Who's doing that?
I like that.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I think we should. If we're being honest, we should. I am hosting this. It's a fun journey. And hey, man, it's a marathon, not a sprint. All right,
do you feel attacked when you've done poorly? Do you feel attacked by Jeremiah in the rundown?
No, not really. It does make me think of one of our first conversations we had, which was, if you want to see, Jay's trying to find out what my record is. I'll pull it up for you here.
Why is it in red?
Right. Technically. 14, 14, and 1, I think,
14.
right? Yeah,
that's not even possible. Isn't that 29?
Playing
14,
fiddle in the middle.
2?
Oh, 14, 14, 2.
Oh, 14, 14, and 2.
I thought
Sorry.
you said in 1.
There you go, Jay. Yeah, there you go. 14, 14, and 2. Yeah, so, sitting right at that.
Probably better than 14 I'm doing.
So Jeremiah put together that rundown?
Yeah.
Where is Mike Rigg?
Oh, I think Rick's back, isn't he?
Rig is he's still in Portugal? This has been going on for weeks now.
And the nose of Europe.
I heard his flight was canceled.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, sure. Just take a 2-week vacation in the middle of football, Rig. We'll just stay here and keep the ship up afloat. Believe this guy? All right.
6-week contest over, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
24, 5-1.
Gambling Rats, I believe is the name.
Gambling Rats, yeah. Yeah, Rats, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had, I think he won by half a game because the others, there was a group right behind him, a half game back. But, $75K, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Not too bad. And then we paid off our second 3-week winners, which basically there was a 3-way tie, and they each got 21K plus.
Must be nice.
So, yeah. I mean,
In-season contest.
Chunk of change, yeah.
In-season contests are good for business because so many people are out like right away.
Well, I mean, look at somebody, in all honesty, look at somebody like me, right? Like I'm 14, 14, and 2. Mm-hmm. There's no shot that I'm quitting because there's so many bites at the apple to win some sort of money with all of these mini contests.
Well, you've got a fresh 3-week contest starting this week.
Exactly. It starts this week. There's a fresh 6-week contest, right? Starting this week.
Yeah, man.
It does keep people into it, and there's still the reboot, right? And that deadline's approaching, within the next month?
That is, November 12th, I believe, is the deadline. So, it's right around the corner.
Day after my birthday. I'm just throwing it out there so you remember.
Wait, we got our first 9 weeks. So we have 2 9 weeks, so for those that don't know.
Right.
2 9 weeks, 6 3 weeks, and 3 6 weeks. Does that make sense?
So why would somebody like me ever quit? You got to keep going. It keeps you involved in it throughout the entire
What
way.
if it was week 17 and you went 0-5 in week 16? Would you throw in the towel?
No, because then it's about pride. And as you correctly pointed out, using my 3 initials next to the entry, I've got to keep. I got to.
You don't want people to be like, "Oh, this guy's a bozo."
Yeah.
If that happens, Jeremiah, can you please keep posting that?
We keep track. I will say I had a good year last year, and I got no attention for it. Got nothing. Got absolutely nothing.
You and I talked about it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I won the RJ contest last year. No one said a thing.
Did you guys win money
I
on that?
congratulated you for that.
No, I think I won a magazine.
You get a free subscription to the RJ. I like it. All right, we move on. College football. We start. So I am surprised that you said that the Syracuse is a popular team. I know that they have played well. They were on the road against Clemson. I'm very interested in this because we've had some spots that hung up look-aheads. It is very much far off from the look-ahead. I think there were a couple of shops, John, that hung up Clemson minus 16 last week. You guys opened up 13, though, in this one.
Yeah, I think Syracuse maybe isn't getting enough respect. I mean, we saw a lot of wise guys on NC State last week. I know their quarterback was out, but I think Syracuse just they continue to defy sort of some of the bets we see coming against them, people fading them week after week. I'm not saying I think they're going to beat Clemson on Saturday, but Clemson's a team that the sharp guys have faded a lot this year. Yeah. We saw a lot of sharp money on NC State at Clemson, and a lot of sharp players here took Florida State this past week. I know Clemson blew them out, but it seems like we're seeing sharp guys go against Clemson a lot.
I think we opened up on the short end of this, and we did attract some sharp play on Clemson finally. It's the first time in weeks that we've seen it. So it was like 13. They laid 13.5, but not enough to warrant to go to 14. So I think we're sitting at 13.5. But first time we've seen sharp play in a while on the Tigers.
So, I'm glad you brought that up, Jake, because that was going to be my next question. You do kind of get an indicator of like where respected money is. The fact that you're just under the key number of 14 does kind of tell you that it's not enough, like you're talking about, to get you guys to the point where you would move to 14.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will just come in and just lay key numbers, won't they? Like run underneath that.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
I like it. By the way, Syracuse's schedule, I would say I fall in the camp of not very real. Louisville, Connecticut, Purdue, Virginia, Wagner, NC State. So.
A little bit of a voice there when you said Wagner. What was that?
Wagner, maybe? I don't know.
Okay.
Is that Wagner? It's not a very... I'm not familiar with
Wagner,
the history.
question mark?
Yeah, of Wagner's football program. So
Right.
I am familiar with Quinn Ewers, though, and the Texas Longhorns, who will play Oklahoma State. Texas, you guys opened up J -5 with a total of 64.5. Now, reading the market, it does seem that Texas gets support on a week-to-week basis. They got bet up last week against Iowa State, although that number didn't get there. Are we seeing the same thing here?
There's no sharp play. It's just the market that's going on. I'm looking at it, and it's like 50-50 right now. Tickets, the money. So there hasn't been anything that is really indicating what the sharps are playing on this game. I'm looking at it and seeing. I mean, I really tried to handicap this game a little bit just to see what it was going on with it. It looks like Texas, that rushing defense that they have is so good. And I really think that the Cowboys are struggling to run the ball. So it's all going to be, in the passing game. And if it goes in the the passing games, yeah, you mentioned yours. I think Sanders, might not be 100%. So that could be a problem with Oklahoma State. And I don't like teams coming off overtime games. I think it was a double overtime against TCU.
That they blew?
Yep. They blew that. And coming off a loss, that kind of sticks with you too. So, Texas being favored by 6, I can understand why the market's moving up a little bit, but it wasn't sharp money. So it'll be interesting to see where this thing ends up.
Well, college kids tend to fall into those traps a little bit more often too, right? Like those emotional letdowns. You have an opponent, you have a Big 12 opponent on the ropes. Essentially, you blow that game, lose in double overtime. Now you got to face Texas. It's kind of a tough turnaround for Oklahoma State, I would say.
I like it. I mean, I'm not going to play it every single time, but if I'm looking at a game and I need a tiebreaker or something like that, that's something I'd look at.
All right, we'll go to the Pac-12, John. UCLA taking on Oregon. Oregon, you guys opened up 6.5 with a total of 70.5. We saw the market kind of come in on UCLA in those 2 Friday games. They get a week off, and yet here we are. We're kind of floating around a touchdown here in this. It's an earlier game, too, against Oregon.
UCLA is going to be a really popular public dog in that game. When you look at that point spread, almost a touchdown. UCLA is having unbelievable season, getting all kinds of hype. They're going to be a big-time public dog. But don't let that totally scare you off. We said that last week about Tennessee. Mm-hmm. We said that everybody was going to be on Tennessee. They were right. Tennessee moved the ball kind of at will against Alabama. They won that game. USC was a really public dog last Saturday night at Utah. They didn't win the game, but they did cover the spread. So we've seen some big-time public dogs covering recently. UCLA is going to be another one for sure on Saturday. That number looks very inviting.
Big total, too.
I was looking at the total tickets, and it was like 80% already on the Bruins, ticket-wise. Mm-hmm. So a lot of public support, and I think that's just the beginning. I mean, what time is that game? Is that real late?
I think I got it right here.
If it's real late, it's going to be...
I got it at 12:30.
Yeah, it's 12:30.
Yeah, 12:30. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of a weird
What's the late game, John?
Let's see. I can pull that up for you later.
Give me something I can watch.
Kansas State TCU's late. That's actually a pretty good one, right?
No.
What the Big 12 leader undefeated TCU?
Keep scrolling down.
Here you go. I got something right up your alley. Nevada, San Diego State.
I love it.
7:30. There you go.
I love it.
The college football schedule is actually not fantastic.
I'll be watching baseball, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New Mexico's catching 10.5 against Fresno State. Got to tell you, Lobo's going to be pretty live this weekend.
Maybe I'll think differently. Maybe I'll go back to college foots.
Maybe Jay Kaner might be back, though. All right, before we get out of here for the day, first off, Major League Baseball, question for both of you guys. How is this shaping up? As somebody walked in today and said San Diego Padres are not going to the World Series. In fact, it's the Philadelphia Phillies.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
We
got a lot of liability, right, on San Diego?
We have these different jurisdictions. You talk about New Jersey. Hey, we need the Padres. Out here, we need the Phillies. So we have, different liabilities across the country. It's really amazing to see, because when I try to explain it to some of our senior execs, and John knows exactly what I'm talking about, it's like, well, we need them here, but we don't need them over here.
It's tough.
In general, we needed the Guardians, right?
It speaks to sort of how difficult our jobs are, I think, Jay, and what a task it is to be us, having to explain. Yeah, he's right. Like we don't want San Diego to win the pennant or the World Series in Nevada, but then if you look in some of our other jurisdictions, we're buried on the Phillies winning the pennant because of New Jersey. So it's tough, John. It's really hard.
But actually,
that's why it's a heavy lift.
So I will say this.
I really want the listeners to feel bad for us, if I'm being honest with you.
We're looking for sympathy.
I'm not going to sympathize with you, but I will say, because you guys deal with this, and it's a very common topic for you. Yeah. I do find this interesting. So is your bottom line overall everything SuperBook sports related, or do you guys do you look at each one individually, like when you're looking at everything from losses and wins and where your liability's at? Like when the baseball season is over, is it every single jurisdiction that adds up, or is it each jurisdiction in its own
entity? Can I take a stab at that, Jay?
Well, I know what I'm going to say.
I feel like is it a dumb question?
Whatever makes us look better.
Okay. No, I just say they're going to complain about whichever one we lost on, and they're going to ignor the winner.
Yeah. All right. Yep. And we do focus on the negative, right?
Of course.
I mean, we'll sit there and look at it and goes, "Oh, we did everything great. Everything looked good." Tennessee.
Oh, in Tennessee. We lost in Tennessee because Tennessee beat Alabama, which I blame that a little bit on our social media guys that were out there. We told them we needed Alabama to win. They didn't bring it home.
Did they boost it?
They boosted it. They screwed us.
Yeah. By the way,
they screwed us.
I know that we do these boosts in different jurisdictions now. Did you see what happened? One shop accidentally sent out an internal email with all these boosts that had actually lost, but for them it was winners, right? Because they're winners, and a lot of people got mad. They're like, "How you send this out and tell us those are winners?" Oh, they were winners, just weren't winners for you guys.
For the house,
of course, and it was a celebratory email.
We do that.
I did not hear that.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Really?
We do that. We send celebratory text messages when the customers lose. We do that a lot.
I'm sure you guys don't do that.
Like every day.
It was more. It was an exec type of thing. Anyway, all right. We're all out of here. As always, you can follow us on social at SuperBook Sports or at superbook.com. Stay up on all the latest odds, boosts, and promos. How about that? And if you like what you hear, take a second, like, rate, review, subscribe. Enjoy the games, and we'll talk to you next week here on the Oddsmakers presented by SuperBook Sports.